On today's episode, Tony from UMS Tuning helps me tear down the 930 transmission and figure out whether it needs more than synchros, which is all I've ordered for now. So let's get to it. So the teardown begins here. Tony, I gotta thank you first of all for actually putting the time in after work to help me do this. Actually, I should say you doing all the work for me while I kind of sit here and watch. I do appreciate it, so thank you in advance. And you've worked on a couple of these in the past, right?
Yeah, it's been a while though.
That's
well,
okay.
I haven't torn one of these apart in about 10 years or so, but
well, we're gonna get a cool and quick refresher on this one, right?
Yep, pretty much.
So where do we start?
I'm gonna start with pulling the final drive out, pull the side cover off, and actually I'm gonna pull the transmission mount off so I can lay it on the side easier.
All right.
I grabbed the wrong size.
See, the Germans always use 13 and 15 mil and 17 the odd occasional time, right?
Yeah, 18 is more common.
18, those bastards. And I'm used to working on Japanese cars. So 12, 14.
You guys didn't drain this transmission very well. See this mess that's growing right now?
You know what? We
didn't drain it at all, did you? So that's going to be our next step as soon as I pull this thing
You know,
off.
I don't. It's a question. I don't think the guys that I don't think Chris or Mike did. So we're gonna cut this. I'm gonna go get a rag, and when we come back, we're not gonna have this huge mess here.
There's a couple spots where it gives you leverage to
get
pry.
a decent leverage.
Yep.
There we go.
It's been in there for a little while.
Yeah, I'd say. Look at that.
Simple little O-ring seal. And it's
Yeah.
actually still pliable considering how old it is. It's
Ooh,
pretty impressive.
I like it.
And this is your ring gear.
Holy
and
smokes,
differential.
So it literally just pops out like that.
Yep, that's it.
Look at that.
If you were to flip this thing, like some of the old 935s would have a flipped transmission so they could lower the motor, or basically have the motor even lower. They would actually install it backwards, and it would drive in the opposite direction.
Wow. So essentially what we're looking at here is what you would find in the back of most automobiles.
Yeah, it looks like a winter's quick change.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Only you would have the small adjustable gears.
Yeah, exactly.
Swap out gears in the back.
Well, that was simple.
Yeah, that part's pretty straightforward.
That is what I suspect is the most simple task here.
Honestly, the hardest part about it is the shafts, getting them pressed apart.
I gotcha.
That's the most time consuming and the place where you're likely to do the most damage.
Right,
wrong.
of course.
We still have one in here. So, now to kind of break the seal a little bit.
Yep, the old mallet, that always helps.
And
look at that.
there's your reverse idler.
So what's that there?
That's a reverse idler.
Reverse idler, okay. And then here.
And that's how you get reverses. That guy jumps in between here and reverses the other gear. Right now I think we're stuck in gear. Yeah, so now we're in neutral. Right?
Okay.
So your input shaft's here.
Yeah.
Input shaft would drive through one of the other gears inside, and they would reverse themselves, right? Because they're gear to gear.
Makes sense.
So you put another gear in between there, they'll both be going the same direction. And that's how it reverses it.
Brilliant. Simple yet very effective.
And I'm gonna pull this reverse actuator out with their little snap rings or a cotter key in here holding this pin into place.
Of course, which is a huge pain in the ass.
Well, it's part of the task.
All right, this cover is going to reveal the shift torque. You said.
It's like the shift mechanism. Some of the
mechanism, yes.
Some of the
My terminology is not very good with this type of transmission. Oh yeah, look at that.
Just give it good, and then this guy comes out.
Oh yeah, there you go.
So this will go. And
The parts just keep getting pulled out here.
yep, they just keep coming out.
That's right.
Alright.
Okay, we are now removing the main, the nuts,
Reverse nuts.
reverse nuts. And of course, the impact gun is the way to go, as always.
There's no real easy way to hold these shafts otherwise.
Nope. We're just removing the detents right now, which
This one just goes the whole way through.
yeah, are what holds the shifter in the center position, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So the next step here is to remove all the nuts that hold the top case here to the main housing, or the case, whatever you want to call it.
The mid case.
The mid case over to the
Midwife.
top case, to the low case, to the I don't really care case. There we go, look at that. A couple of love taps. Oh,
And we have gears.
there's our case, and look at this.
Snap right back in here. I pulled this one out for no reason. So these things are kind of unique in their day. They were one of the first synchronized transmissions. They'd be almost like a dog. If you notice, they have big pads for the guides.
Oh yeah, okay.
And the slider, there's really no brass ring per se. It's got an actual cone in here that it catches with, and it's steel. You can see it from the other side. And that's your wear pad. That's your actual synchro. It's not brass rings like they used to be. They're really robust, but if you grind gears a few times too many, they will go away quickly.
Which I think is the cause of my grinding and problems with this transmission, right?
Yeah, very possible. If you have a misadjusted clutch or a disc that's warped, and
Yeah.
when you release the clutch is not fully released, it'll put a ton of drive through the transmission while you're trying to shift gears, and you'll grind gears, and it'll wear out these wear pads quickly.
Now we're removing one of the, what do you call that?
This is shift fork.
Shift fork.
Shift fork and
of
shift
course
shaft.
it is, yes.
And this kind of gets locked into place by this bolt.
We had to pop out the roll pin out of there, right?
Yep.
And now we've got our second shift fork off. We can continue disassembly here.
You have to get a little
Little
jiggle into it.
persuasive here. This could be like the 3-man or the 2-man job. 3 hands. Oh, look at that. There you go.
And there's your gear stack.
The gear
Couple
stack.
nuts
I
and
think-
washers.
Yeah, I think one fell into our abyss of oil down there,
That
which
didn't
isn't
get
great,
drained.
but that's okay. I'll go digging for that.
Alright.
I'm
Collect up
happy
all of our-
that this all kind of came apart.
Alright.
That was faster
That's
than
your-
I expected.
That's your shim that shims your pinion depth.
Oh, okay. It's inspection time here, and we've looked at the bearings. Tony, what do you think?
No, the bearings actually feel really nice. Everything looks like to be in good condition. Definitely looks like it didn't have an oil change very recently. But,
I don't know if I did one or not.
It's,
I will admit to that.
well, you
I don't
may have
remember.
changed it, but if it lived most of its life without it, it's not going to be visible.
Right.
The bearings actually feel really nice. There's no pits or any heavy grooves in the bearings. They all look very nice. My real concern is going to be the sliders and gears. Looks like
They may have endured some damage.
second gear looks like it's got the most damage.
Yeah.
Right here, with these points that match up to these guys. That's what
They're
happens when you're
supposed to
grinding.
be there, but they're gone.
Right, when you're they're there. It's just no longer a sharp point. So what happens when
I
you're
gotcha.
grinding is these points up in here get grind up against these points, and it just wears away at them.
I gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
So that's the general wear there, and same with 3.4 actually doesn't look too bad.
I know for third gear for me was kind of really shitty.
Was it?
Yeah.
And that could be this cone just being. I'm trying to remember the gear. Like I said, I
Yeah.
haven't looked at the manual in a while. I haven't done one
Well,
of these in a
10
number
years
of years.
is understandable.
But,
Not handling this.
yeah.
Well, we've moved benches for some better access, and on top of that, we now have an OEM service manual to reference, so Tony doesn't have to go from memory. And the next step that we're moving on to here is pulling some gears. Ooh, would you look at that?
Right tool for the
I
job,
like what
right?
I see. That is the right tool for the job. So what are those gears?
This should be fourth gear, I think. Or no, fourth gear is gonna be the same, two the same size. Smallest drive. This is gonna be input small, output big. That's gonna be first gear.
First gear,
Right?
yeah.
First gear, yeah. Second, third, fourth.
All right.
And interestingly enough, as I was looking through the manual, I found out that even third gear is overdriving this thing, and so is fourth.
Yeah.
The gear ratios are humorous.
That's the beauty of a 4-speed. Yes,
Alright.
indeed. The gears are coming off in a beautiful stack.
There we go. Now these guys come right off as well.
Oh, yeah. So some of them are pressed on, and then the other ones are just kind
Yeah,
of
the ends are usually
there.
sometimes they're on there a little better than this, but
Look at
obviously
that.
this thing's got some miles on it. Luckily they're all bearings and not bushings.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're down to the nitty gritty here.
We pull the last two, last gear there.
And there's your
Now we have shaft.
output shaft and your input shaft.
Very neat.
Now you can separate them.
Oh, wow.
Actually, you can pull the shim off and just leave them hanging in there since we already looked at the bearings and they were good.
Yep.
There's an important shim right here for pinion depth and shaft
I
height,
gotcha.
and that's really critical. You don't lose that; it has to stay there. We may end up changing it, not likely though. In all the years I've touched one of these, until you change gear ratios or change your final drive and
Right,
or
you
some
don't
of the
need to
gear
mess
stack,
with
you
that.
generally never have to touch
That's
that.
a good thing.
Yep. So this guy, on the other hand, is not so happy. If you look at the points on here, they're all rounded off. There's a step built into them. It's really hard to see.
Yeah. Let me see if I can
Those
get
things are
some
not-
focus on that. Yep.
That one's not happy.
So they essentially have been destroyed.
Yep, somebody's been trying to force it in while it's grinding, and that's what
Right.
happens. It wipes out these points, and I'm surprised that the actual slider doesn't have the same damage on it. It actually seems to have survived it. So I think we're in luck there. I think the slider's quite a bit more money than this synchro
Well,
ring.
that's a good thing.
Yep.
My wallet thanks you for that. So far, so good. Then, you said the fourth gear looks decent, and
And third's pretty hammered.
third's. So we're gonna need to replace that. We've already ordered all 4 synchros, so those will get replaced.
Alright, so here's this guy.
What do we got here?
This one's 100% flat.
100% flat. Well,
Yeah, there's no point left there at all. That one's not so happy either.
yeah.
So this should be, this is on the output shaft, so this should be third gear.
Yeah.
Actually, that was second we just did. This is
Okay.
third, yeah.
Damn.
That thing's pretty hammered.
All right.
Not happy.
Gotta add that to the list of replacement parts.
Yeah, and then this side, again, didn't take much damage. There's a little bit there. It's a little bit rounded. You can tell it's not coming to a point anymore.
Yep.
This one I might,
So it probably makes sense to replace.
we might discuss this one.
Well,
This one might.
at this point, it's a part. I'd rather replace stuff than
Yeah.
in a year or two have to go back into it.
Oh yeah, definitely don't want to be here again soon.
Well, I love coming to visit you, but
Well,
it's
yeah.
a little ways away for me.
Yeah, so this guy's good. This guy looks pretty happy. He's come to a nice point. It's not flattened down at all.
Good.
So we got a few parts they have to deal with, but for the most part, you know, considering how old this thing is, the miles are on
Yeah,
it, it's in pretty good shape.
I like that. All right, guys. We just had a closer look at the dog rings, and the second and third rings are going to need replacing. Like I said, we already have the synchros, the bearings, and everything else checks out. So essentially, we've got 2 dog rings, some sliders that need to be replaced, and the synchros. And then this transmission will be as good as new. Yes,
Alright.
indeed. The gears are coming off in a beautiful stack.
There you go. These guys come right off as well.
If you guys want to support what we're up to here, you can check out our Patreon page. And if you don't, that's cool too.